Hi, welcome back with another movie explanation. Today, I'm going to explain a movie called My Super Ex-Girlfriend. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. The film opens in New York City, where some robbers are robbing a jewelry store named Vulgari. After robbing the store, they get into a getaway car and try to escape. We see a superwoman flying towards the robber's car. She catches up to them. She lifts up the robber's car in the air and throws the car on the ground. The robbers get down after it is smashed. After getting off the car, they start shooting the superwoman. A lot of bullets hit her, but the bullets fail to make even a scratch on her. She apprehends all the robbers and leaves them on the road for the police to arrest them. The next day, two men, Matt Saunders and Von Hage, in train look at the newspapers. There is the news of the superwoman catching the thieves on the front page of the newspaper. They read it and ask each other what kind of superpowers they would like to have. Vaughn replies, the superpower to gratify myself orally. After cracking these kind of jokes, they look at a girl sitting in the train. Vaughn tells Matt to ask her out. Matt goes to the girl and asks if he can buy her a cup of coffee. She tells him no. The name of the girl is Jenny Johnson. She is a superwoman who caught the jewelry store robbers, but Matt doesn't know that she's a superwoman. While he's still trying to make her say yes, a thief snatches her bag and runs out of the train. Matt goes running behind the thief to get Jenny's bag from him. He takes the bag back from the thief. Matt gives Jenny her bag. Matt again asks Jenny out for a cup of coffee. This time, Jenny says yes. The next day, we see Matt and Vaughn talking about Jenny while they're at work. They both work in an architecture firm. He tells him that he managed to get a date with her. The same night, Jenny and Matt go out on a date to a restaurant. They talk about each other. Jenny asks Matt what he does. He tells her that he's a project manager at a design firm. When Matt was explaining Jenny what he does at work, she tries to listen to what's going on in the city using her super hearing. She hears a building on fire and a lot of people in distress. She leaves the table saying she's going to the restroom. Jenny, G-Girl, goes flying near the building that's on fire. She spins at a high speed and makes the fire blown out. After this adventure, she comes back to the restaurant as if nothing has happened and has dinner with Matt. Next day, Matt tells his colleague Hannah about Jenny and how weird she acted. Hannah tells Matt that Jenny sounds like a nutcase. She gives him advice on dating. Hannah says you need to be with someone who appreciates you. She tells him to stay away from Jenny. In the next scene, we see that Matt ignored the advice given to him by Hannah because he goes out on a second date with Jenny. Matt gives Jenny a red rose. Jenny tells him that the red rose is a symbol for passion and love. After this, they get into a cab and go to an art gallery. In the art gallery, Jenny tells Matt that no one else even helped her. She was the one who always helped everyone. She says to Matt that he's the only person who ever helped her. After this, they start to kiss. They go back to Matt's apartment and they have Copa on his bed. Jenny breaks his bed with his super strength while having Copa. She says she'd get him a new bed. The next morning, Matt goes to a bar to meet his friend Vaughn and tells him what happened last night and how Jenny broke his bed. After coming out of the bar, Matt meets by some people. They force him to get into a car. The man in the car is a professor. His name is Bedlam. He asks Matt if he's seeing someone. He tells him yes, and her name is Jenny. Bedlam asks Matt to tell everything about Jenny. He wants him to go every single detail about her, however small it is. Matt says he wouldn't tell him about her. Bedlam gets angry and ties Matt upside down to the Statue of Liberty. Jenny sees this in the news and goes flying as G-Girl to save him. She saves him and tells him not to look at her because she doesn't want to know that she is the G-Girl. While she was at the Statue of Liberty, Bedlam goes to her house and collects hair samples from her comb. The next day, Matt meets with Jenny and tells her about how G-Girl saved him from the top of the Statue of Liberty. They walk on the sidewalk for a while. When Matt is not looking at her, she swiftly goes and saves a girl who was about to get hit by a car. After saving the girl, Jenny gets hit by a car and goes flying across the street from the impact. But she doesn't even have a scratch on her after the accident. Matt is surprised to see this. In the next scene, Jenny takes Matt to her house and tells him that it's the first time she ever brought someone to her house. She reveals her secret to Matt because he had a lot of questions as to how she's alive after a strong impact from a car like that. Jenny tells him not to tell anybody that she is the G-Girl. Matt accepts her conditions and they continue dating. In the next scene, Matt asks Jenny about Bedlam. She tells him that they were classmates in junior high. One day when they were having sex in a car, they saw a meteor fall nearby their location and they went to see it. Jenny touches the meteor and it abruptly bursts out and throws Bedlam and Jenny far away. Jenny gets superpowers due to the blast, and Bedlam was shocked to see her change into G-Girl. She tells Matt that Bedlam and Jenny grew apart after this. On the other side, Bethlehem finds a way to hurt G-Girl by making experiments on her hair that he collected from her apartment. In the next scene, Matt introduces Jenny to Hannah, and the three of them go out for dinner. A news flash appeared in the news that a runaway missile is heading towards New York. Jenny leaves Matt and Hannah to go save the city, and she deflects the missile's path and make a blast in the air. They stay in a relationship for a few days. Everything seems to go fine, but one day Matt tells Jenny that they should take a break from their relationship. Jenny gets angry and breaks everything in the house. She asks him why he's breaking up with her. Matt tells her that she is needy, jealous, crazy, and manipulative. After listening to this, she angrily goes out of the house by flying through the roof, breaking it apart. Before leaving the house, she tells him that he will regret this decision. After this, Matt starts getting nightmares of death in Jenny's hands. The next day in office, Matt tells Hannah that he broke up with Jenny and she's acting crazy about it. She tells him everything will be fine. After this, she takes Matt's car out of the parking lot by breaking the walls in the parking lot. Matt sees it and feels scared. She makes his life a living hell. In the night, Jenny comes to Matt's house. She breaks his roof to come in. Matt asks her why she came. She tells him she came to use his telescope. She fixes the telescope to an angle and makes Matt look at it. Matt sees his car in space. After this, she uses her eye lasers to write DICK on Matt's forehead and leaves the house. In the next scene, she makes Matt get fired from his job by making him nude in front of his colleagues during a meeting. Matt goes to Hannah because he couldn't handle the harassment. Hannah consoles him. After a while, they have Copa. Jenny finds out about it and throws a shark into Hannah's apartment. The shark attacks Matt persistently, but he escapes somehow. The next day, Matt goes to Bethlehem to talk to him. He offers him help and tells him that he has a way to stop her harassment. To make her powers vanish, Matt takes a huge stone that absorbs Jenny's powers from Bethlehem. After taking the rock that absorbs power back to his house, Matt calls Jenny for dinner and tries to be nice with her so they have the chance to make her superpowers disappear. In the process of betraying Jenny to make her believe he loves her, Matt kisses her. Hannah comes home and sees him kissing her and starts to fight with her. But somehow, he makes her powers vanish using the rock Bethlehem gave him. After a while, Bethlehem comes to Matt's house to kill Jenny, but Jenny touches the stone to get her powers back. Hannah also touches the stone and she gets the superpowers that Jenny has. In the climax, Hannah and Jenny fight for a very long time in the air with their superpowers. They finally stop fighting and Bethlehem confesses to Jenny how much he loves her and they kiss. Jenny forgets about Matt. Matt goes back home with Hannah and tells her she doesn't have to use her newfound superpowers if she doesn't want to. Both Jenny and Hannah decide to save the world with their superpowers and their boyfriends support them with their decision. The film ends here. Subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to let me know how you feel about today's video in the comments down below. Stay safe and never forget, you are awesome.